little more zoomed in than you. All right, lead us, bro. And don't move your elbow too much, because the elbow's in my shot.
You get on my nerves, bro.
I'm just saying.
You ready?
Let's go. Hard conversation today. Hard conversation. Hard conversation.
All right. I walked off the set last time. When should we close the church? I want to start this off by saying I am a church enthusiast, Christian enthusiast. I love the Lord. He heard my cry. I just took my sanctification certification. I got 100.
Oh my God.
I just came off of assignment, so I'm definitely tapped into the will of God.
We love the church. That basically what we're trying to say is
Love
the conversation we're having is hard, but we love the church, and we love the church in all facets of it. We love the big church. I love a storefront. Don't get me wrong. Ain't nothing like storefront church. I love it. I love the hand clapping.
Yeah.
I love the small church. I love the big church. I love the medium church.
Yeah.
But we're just having a conversation that should be had. And this conversation, most people took it offensive as if it was just for a small church, but in theory, it's also for larger churches as well. It's talking about growth.
You know, oh my God. And I didn't even know we were going to go here because one of the largest churches in the Midwest is actually under scrutiny right now for not fulfilling the assignment that they have pitched to the community. Perfecting Church, the Winans Church, big congregation. Vision lost.
Yeah. I don't think vision was lost.
To a
Like,
certain
no. Money was lost.
Yeah, okay, money.
They want vision. It's money.
Yeah.
Like you're building a $60 million campus.
Yeah.
They ran out of money. That was simple. Like why did it stop? We ran out of money.
Yeah.
But
Never
but
started,
again,
though.
huh?
They never started.
Yeah, they did. That's how the building
They made a petition 20 years ago.
No. The shell of the building is up. It's not finished.
The shell of the building.
The shell of the building. They didn't finish anything else. But that's because they ran out of money.
Yeah.
And I believe that's also still connected to. I have never watched the service. I don't know how much the membership is, if it's grown, if it's failed. But that's hard. That's hard that you've been building a building. But whoa.
And
Let's say
shout out
that.
to Marvin Winans, first of all.
I'm about to say. Let me say this.
I love that man of God. He laid foundation. He's a pioneer in the kingdom. He's a legend in the kingdom. He's an all those things in the kingdom.
You're gonna say anything on this episode not to get canceled.
Yeah.
So let me say this, because we're talking about them that they've been trying to build this building for 20 years.
Yeah.
But let's talk about churches that have had a building fund for the last 40 years and ain't did nothing with it.
Not
That's
cancel
what.
campaign.
But this is what I'm saying is, at least they got a structure up.
Yeah.
I literally know churches,
Yeah.
literally, that have had a building fund since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I have not seen them build anything.
Yeah.
I have not seen anything grow.
Right.
And so I think that's what we're talking about. So when we have the conversation, we say, when should you close the church?
Yeah.
What we got on it and what made this hard is that I made a comment.
Yeah.
And I said, if you've had 10 members
I got up
for
and walked
10
away.
years, if I said, if you had 10 members for 10 years,
Yeah.
I think you should close.
And I got up and walked away.
You got up and walked away. When you came back, you gave context to this and you said, if you believe if you had 10 members for 10 years, you should merge.
Yes.
And I said, hey, close, merge, I don't care what you do, but you got to do something different than what you've been done. That's a hard conversation. And where I really wanted to start us off with is a comment that you made, Rob. Your comment was that if a church here, a church there, and these three churches came together and merged, it would answer the problem. Is that not what you said?
Definitely. I believe that if you have I believe in three layers of church, right? You have the building, then you have outreach, and then you have staff.
Okay.
You have building, you have outreach and staff. And my thing is, if you have a 10-member church, let that 10-member church still, from an economical standpoint, fund the building. You merge, you get tier 2. Now you do outreach.
Yeah.
And then you get tier 3, and now we can afford to have a staff at the church so that we can have quality, teaching, quality musicians and quality worship leaders and all that kind of stuff. And at the end of the day, we're in a stage right now because of the competition with worship leaders and stuff like that, in terms of them going to other spaces, not even bigger spaces, just other spaces. That you kind of you kind of have to be able to sew into what that looks like.
So here's the problem, though. This is why, and I'm not knocking your strategy. I think it's great strategy. Yours basically, I'm saying close it. You're saying merge it. I believe the answer would be if we could get churches to merge.
Yeah.
Here's where I think the reality has to set in.
Yeah.
The reason that hasn't been done,
Yeah.
and the reason is we don't see it,
Yeah.
is because there's too many egos involved in the church.
Definitely.
This church over here, this pastor, you got Pastor A, Pastor B, Pastor C.
Yeah.
If we were to say we're going to merge, now the fight becomes which A, B, or C, who's the pastor?
Yeah.
Who's the main pastor? Well, whose vision are we carrying? And so it becomes hard. So the conversation of if you've only got 10 members for whatever, and you're not growing, is it really, I believe that growth issue is connected to what you were just saying. There is no vision.
Yeah.
And so now if you try and connect all these three different visions, now you're trying to bring three, and now you're asking at least two of these people to humble themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. That's tough. That's tough. But, a person like myself, in the space that I operate in now, especially in the forward technology realm of things, like they have a pastor for everything now.
Yeah.
So you got your virtual pastor, you got your weekend pastor, you got your teaching pastor.
And that's what I was saying.
So for me, there's a space, I would have to be strategic in who I merge with.
Yeah.
Because I'm a virtual personality and I'm able to connect.
But you get it.
Yeah.
You see, the problem is, and this is what I said last week, is that people get good at one thing and feel like you led one good song and got the people shouting, and now you feel like you need to go pastor. You preach one good message and now you feel like you should. No, that's not how it works. You got three people in the church that say, oh, you preach better than the pastor. And now you feel like you need to go start a church. See, but you got the right idea, is that just because I'm good at prayer, because I'm good at Bible study, and I'm good at that. That doesn't mean I need to go start my own denomination or my own church or my own building. That means I need to connect to this church and focus in and say, hey, pastor, here we go, Mark. Here we go. This is going. I'm pastor. Let me take this off your hands.
There we go.
Let me have this one area of the church, and you don't. I'll meet with you weekly. Let me take this off your hands.
My thing is, I would connect with all-star players, because now my all-star players can rest.
Yep.
And I think part of the reason why the church loses its growth trajectory or their vision to a certain degree, their momentum, is because, there's one voice of the house.
Yeah.
And that one voice gets burnt out.
Yeah.
And then the other side of it is, okay, when you have that one voice of the house, what happens when you've conditioned a group of people to only be able to hear one type of voice?
That's good.
And so for me, are we really, again, is it really edifying people, or are we esteemed personally by the amount of people that we're allowed to lead, that we're trusted to lead?
Yeah.
So for me, I'm totally connected to having pastors in a space where not only do they have their area of expertise, but now we have quality and control. There's some churches I know right now, like they literally go through like sermon development together. And so that's how you branch out to multiple campuses and stuff like that. And, and you're able to make sure the same messages, are spread throughout all the campuses if necessary. If the Lord leads to go a different direction, you have the fluidity to do that.
Can I have this conversation? And I'm gonna say it in a way, and I'm not saying this in a way to get. I don't want to offend anybody, but I'm gonna say it plain. I'm not gonna use words that's gonna cover it up. You can take what I'm saying the wrong way. I'm going to say it straight like it is. The difference between the mixed multicultural and the white church and the black church is that the black church the white church, what they have done well is they've established multiple pastors within their church to lead areas and to pastor groups of people within the church. That actually helps the church grow. When the black church is so scared of somebody taking over and somebody doing a thing well or better than you, we don't give leadership to people. Well, the black church will give out random leadership to people, but we don't equip them to be good leaders, and we don't equip them to be pastors. Because what the black church lacks is they lack pastoralship in the smaller areas of the church. I'm going to say that again. The black church lacks pastoralship in the smaller areas of the church, where the multicultural, they do it well. Like you said, there's a pastor of media. They're good at media.
Right there, because I just did a conference in Colorado Springs. Shout out to Issues of Life. That was a phenomenal conference. But one of the things I talked about was empowering leaders through assigning them as pastors over particular areas, because there's no way that I can trust you with people without trusting you with the ability to pastor that group of people in my absence. At the end of the day, if I have auxiliaries, there are people that you have more access to than I have access to. You have quicker access to them. You'll know they're not going to be a rehearsal before I know. So at the end of the day, in a perfect world, so that I can focus on just pastoring to a certain degree, shepherding to a certain degree, I gotta institutionalize leaders, servant leaders, pastors, to be able to guard the gates, if I could say it that way, that can have governance, and they need to be like-minded, in terms of the vision of the house. And I believe that really is the development of a succession plan,
Yeah.
because the church can't start and stop with me.
Yeah, I've got to. You're always the one to shout somebody out. So let me shout out somebody for that. I don't do this often, but Pastor Aaron McNair at Mount Moriah Christian Center in Raleigh, and then he has Deeper Life in Goldsboro. He put up a video today. I don't even know if you saw it. I didn't talk to you about it at all. And he was reading. I pulled up the scripture to get. He was saying basically in Habakkuk 2:2 where it says, "And the Lord answered me and said, Write the vision and make it plain upon the tables that he may run that readeth it." He was talking about the leaders of the church. That the leader of the church cannot write the vision and run at the same time.
Come on.
And I was like, now, Aaron, you're good. Aaron, you're talking good now. You're talking. That's what I said to my boy. You're talking good, son. No, but seriously, like we can't expect the leader, what you were just saying, we can't expect them to write the vision and be the one running at the same time. They've got to write the vision and pastor the pastors of the church so that we can get the people up under that to be the runners. You get what I'm saying?
One of the other things about hierarchical type leaderships where like, you know, there's only like one identified pastor. What I've also noticed is that the rest of the servant leaders have no idea what the vision is. They have no idea. They go to such and such church, but you ask them what the vision of the church is, they couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so for my thing is, so how do we reach a goal, a common goal that's a part of the growth trajectory of the church when no one knows what it is? All they know is their pastor's name.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I believe that's, you know, that's where my heart is connected to in terms of the church has to be more than a shout, than a dance, you know, than a highly motivational, you know, message to just get me through Sunday.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if I'm not pastoring you through the week and I'm not giving you assignment and I'm not giving you space to get it right and wrong,
Yeah.
not just right, but get it right and wrong. Because that's, you know, if you're my pastor and you don't teach me nothing, that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah. That's tough.
You know, and when I say teach, I'm talking about what you said earlier, trusting God's plan and God's vision for your organization enough to where you're able to have that enacted through people.
Yeah.
If you're not able to push that vision through people, now I have to ask, is it a you thing or is it a God thing?
Mm-hmm.
I got to ask that question. Because there's no way. Let me tell you right now, God blesses me to be in a situation where I can lead a particular people. The first thing I'm doing is I'm getting some star players. Number one, because I'm not going to be burnt out doing this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be burnt out.
I think the hardest part though, and I think that's the method, is if you can get the star players. The problem now is that I'm gonna get canceled. Yeah. The hard part now is every star player has a dollar sign above their head, and they got a dollar sign. And I think sometimes we even as, and I'm saying we, because I include myself as a star player. You are a star player. You know what I'm saying? I know your giftedness. I know there's people. I know the people that, you know. I know people that are gifted, and I think you're worth your weight. You know, my pastor says something all the time. She said, "You're worth your weight in gold." Yeah. I just think sometimes we have to realize there's some level of it that we've got to feed in. Yeah. To the church to get to the financial area. You know, we can't go into it demanding a number when we know the church isn't where it is to meet that number. Yeah.
Numbers are important when you know you're not included in the vision pattern. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, we're all conditioned to get something out of it. Mm-hmm. And I believe that when you build a team of star players, when you're called to a group of star players in the ministry, you know what I mean? There's an ability to succumb to the greater good when you just buy into the vision, but when you're made to be a part of that vision as well.
I think you got to have the hard conversation. Yeah. This is what I ask people. Anytime I bring people in, business, ministry, church, I ask them, what are you trying to get out of this? What are you looking? What's your next step? What is your next? What are we working towards? Yeah. And I agree. You got to ask it up front, because if you tell me, hey, I'm trying to get A, B, and C, how can you being here help you get where you're trying to go? And that way there's no ulterior motives. I'm not worried about you trying to take something from me or me take something from you. Yeah. We know, hey, you're helping me do this. Yep. I'm going to help you get this. If your goal is monetary, like, hey, I need X amount of dollars a week, then we have it straight up. I can't do it. Yep. This is what I can do. And you agree to or disagree. Yep. But you don't go in not knowing what that person's motive is, what's going to motivate them to continue. And everybody, and this is the thing, I'm not knocking anybody, because I know somebody's going to say, oh, you know, he's trying to say it's not about the money. Because of that, you do that when that's at your level. I'm at a point in life right now, I'm hungry for something different than the money. Yeah, it's good. Do I now? Whoa! Do I want money? Yeah, no. Yeah. I like the dollar. Yeah. I like the dollar. It's mighty. It's beautiful. It does things well. but
But
I
we've been
need.
blessed enough not to have that as a priority.
Yeah, that's not. It's not the first thing I'm going to talk about. That's the last thing I'm going to talk about. I take that back. It's going to be the third thing. Not last thing. It's going to be third thing.
Yeah.
The third thing I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say was, when we're talking about this 10, if you had 10 members for 10 years, when should you close? I think the hard conversation that a lot of churches don't want to have is that you have to have a growth plan, and you have to have some kind of plan where you set markers and goals. And this is for any business,
Yep.
and that's a whole nother problem when the church just wants to be spiritual and the church does not want to be business.
Yeah.
Your church is not doing their paperwork right, their accounting.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah. That's important at the end of the day. At the end of the day, it's more than butts and seats.
That's why half the churches closed, because they didn't have the paperwork together. They couldn't get no PPP money.
It is butts and seats to a certain.
Oh, you want to know what I just said?
Yeah, I'm trying to get this away from getting. No, but at the end of the day, it's the growth trajectory of, are we fulfilling assignment in terms of adding people to the kingdom of God? And I believe that a result of adding people to the kingdom of God is going to be reflected in the people that you're able to touch, whether it be, remotely, virtually, or physically. Mm-hmm. The evidence of that is the growth track, is the growth track of the church. And I believe that's a thing. If you're only averaging a visitor every 6 months, now we have to ask ourselves, okay, are we an in-reach church or are we an outreach church?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I believe, there's nothing wrong with family churches.
Yeah.
I'm not against that, but there's, that can just be a Bible study. Like, why are we wasting money to fund a family church? Mm-hmm. Why are we 23, 25 years into the game? The building ain't still paid off. You know what I mean?
I grew up in a family church. I know exactly.
So nothing's wrong with it to a certain degree, but there is a problem with that when you're 25 years into the game and the building still ain't paid off.
Yeah, that's tough.
That's a problem to me.
See, for me, is you are so, good-hearted that you're going to say, we need a strategy. I'm going to say, go ahead and close that, merge that with somebody, turn that bit, see how much you can get for that building.
And so for me, the other thing I've learned is that a lot of times when the growth trajectory of the growth pattern is down, it's because we fail to adjust with the times. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, you got to stop talking down on the media aspect of church. We got to start talking down on what that looks like. You have to invest in what that looks like. At the end of the day, you have to invest in what that looks like, because that is the way people see Jesus at this point. Mm-hmm. They see Christ differently. Back in the day, we saw Christ in the physical space. Mm-hmm. We saw Christ in the form of touching, in-person evangelism. There are churches right now that their membership is bigger online than it is in the building.
Churches that talk down on media are the same churches that have no musicians and say we don't need music. They have to say that. They have to say that to justify them not being able to. There you go. They have to say that to justify it, because it makes it sound good.
So have that conversation, because I believe, and I'm just going to now speak personally. I'm gonna tell you something. That comment, like you said, it justifies your. We don't need no music. I'm gonna tell you right now, preaching without music is hard. That is a hard thing to do.
It is.
Is challenging.
And I'm a retarded person. I love preaching without music, so I'm slow as the day is long.
It's doable, but it's challenging.
It is challenging. It is hard. It's a lot harder. It's a lot harder
because people hear differently now. Like there's so many. And this is why it's hard, because there's so many elements of influence. Mm-hmm. People are getting their information from so many. We got motivational speakers. We got social media influencers. We got, we got music, so to speak. You got Beyonce talking about Church Girl, and I thought it was a church song until I heard it. You know what I mean? It's
definitely in the church song.
Not a church song. I was like, oh, she say, that's a church song. No, it's not. And so my thing is, we have so much to compete with. And so when an atmosphere is not laid, when it's not set, it is what it is. And then the next thing is, at the end of the day, while you're trying to get, more people to be a part of your organization, part of your establishment like that, the new person is going to go, they'll be more apt to go to a space that has a music department that's thriving.
Yeah. And this is, I say this all the time. It's hard to find a church, and I found one. I thank God for that. Where it has good music, good word, and good people. Yeah. And a lot of churches, you can just stop at does the church have good music and good word? And it's hard to find a church that got both. Matter of fact, good word, good music, and a good sound system. That's tough. You are in a fight for your life. But I believe, I know we we've been on it for a while. We're probably going to do a part 2 to this too.
Yeah.
Is I believe what you said is where it is that a lot of this is churches are scared to have the hard conversation because once you have the hard conversation, you have to do some work behind it and you got to put effort into growth.
Technology is not the focus, but it does make it easier.
Yeah.
Let me say that one more time. Technology is not the focus, but it makes it easier. If without technology, you don't have any chance of reaching a multitude, if I could say it that way. The 25 people that come into your building has now been capped because of your inability to connect with technology. Because most of us right now in social spaces are averaging about 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 followers and friends.
I'm sorry, I had this weird thought. We said we're gonna reach the multitudes. You don't have a functioning Facebook. We're gonna reach the multitude. You do not have an Instagram.
Yeah.
We're going worldwide,
It ain't
and
gonna
you
happen.
do not market yourself.
Yeah.
We're going in the highways and the byways,
To each other.
and you have no marketing strategy. You have no marketing plan. You have no outreach.
It becomes ineffective for me when I preach week after week and I do a call to salvation and there's no one I'm adding to the kingdom because it's the same 6 people every week.
10. Just keep the number consistent. 10.
Okay, 10. And I'm just saying at that point, like, what are we really doing?
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. And at the end of the day, you ain't got no street signs, get a street sign.
So the people I offended. If your church has 10 members and you want to stay with those same 10, you keep that building as long as you keep fighting to pay that mortgage every weekend. You keep fighting to be in there with no music and not be able to grow. That's your decision. And if those 10 people stay for 10 more years and you feel like you've done what you've been called to do, God bless you. But as for me and my house, if I believe that if you had 10 members for 10 years, call it a day.
And I just want to cover those pastors who are there, but they want better. You know what I mean? I think it's a different conversation for the pastor who's stuck there, but they really want more. I think for me, it's the church that is in that space and they know how to do more, how to do better. And they're just choosing not to because they're saying, as an example, social spaces, technology, all those things are irrelevant in the things that are important from a Christianity perspective. That's the part that bothers me. It's important. You got to do a promo.
See, the hard part is
You got to like, share, comment. You got to hashtag.
But this is why I'm trying to. I know people. Sean,
Strategy is different, Rayshawn.
Well, no. What I'm saying, people saying, Sean, you're so mean by saying if you got 10 members for 10 years, close. But that's my thing. If you only got 10 members, you cannot and you can't afford to pay the rent, the lease, or the mortgage, and have a strategist come in and help.
Yeah.
You don't have it.
Yeah.
And you're going to kill yourself.
Yeah.
And you're going to wear the pastor down. You're going to stress yourself out.
Yeah.
Then you're going to have 3 people that's going to leave because now people in there with an attitude on Sunday because you got, oh my God. I don't want to fuss. I feel like I'm fuss preaching. I'm fuss preaching now. But I'm serious. Like, that's why I'm saying that is I've been at the church. I've been at every level of ministry.
Yeah.
I've been in the family church. Yeah. I've been in a large church where everybody's different. I've been a member. I've been a leader in a mega church. Yeah. I've been in a startup church. Yeah. And I've been in the established. I've done it all. I've seen all facets of it. So I'm not telling you nothing I don't know and nothing I don't know well. That is stressful for that. A 10-member church is not just stressful for the pastor, it's stressful for the 10 members.
We're having this conversation because we want to see the church at large grow.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. The second thing is we do need a part 2 because I'm about to drop something on you. Pandemic created an opportunity for the storefront to become the new mega church. Yeah. And we did not take advantage of that to a certain degree. There are organizations that literally pandemic was a strategy while it was terrible for the world. Yeah. It was an opportunity to right shape, to balance the playing field of outreach at the end and within your inner community. I'm not saying that you got to take that storefront and it become a mega church for it to be successful. I'm saying that pandemic created a lane for you to now build strategy against how you go out and get people.
The pandemic did a good job of sifting the wheat
of
those that were ready for the next level and those that were fighting hard against it. Because you went from all these churches, I don't need no live stream. Yeah. I ain't getting no website. I don't need that. I don't need no Facebook. To all of a sudden, now everybody got this at the back of the church trying to record on Sunday morning because
that was the only means of communication.
Yeah. So, I mean, it shut it. And so out of that pandemic, you saw churches that were ready and prepared have
taken it. And then you also saw churches that weren't ready and prepared, but they they caught the wave.
Call it fast.
They caught the wave fast. One
Yeah.
of the things I'm thankful for is pandemic put me in a situation where, you know, even where I was at the time, we weren't all the way ready, but we got there quickly.
Yeah.
Research, YouTube, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Growth and strategy was literally birthed out of a situation, out of necessity.
Yeah. We got to do part 2.
We got to do part 2, y'all. We're going to come back. We love y'all. Give me a second.